friends, and welcome to today's video. I don't have a lot, but I thought I would pop in and do a little recording of things that I've kind of gotten done with in the month of October and the 1st of November. I think first of all, I'm going to start off by showing a few things that I did complete. But before we get into that, I want to show you something that I actually found when I was working on cleaning out the storage room. And that is this gorgeous blanket that my aunt crocheted for me when I was in the womb. So this thing is pretty old because your girl here is 42. And this was made sometime in 79 or the 1st of 80. But it's this pretty good size crochet blanket, and I think this is a DuPont colorway, which used to be one of those Kmart, Sunil, or whatever the word is. But I used to have this colorway, so I know it's one of those. And I'm right at 6 feet tall, and it is as long as my wingspan. And it's pretty wide. I mean, it's there. But she made this for my mom, for me. I just want to share it with you guys. I'd actually washed it up. I'm going to be putting it up in a Ziploc baggie until I get a craft room again. And then I will probably either frame it or figure out some cute way to display it, because I had it displayed in my other craft room in a basket on a bookcase. As far as finished objects, I've only finished a couple of things. And that's okay, because I have been busy doing other things around the house. And sometimes that's just the way life works out. But I finished my little boo, and this was for the hashtag Amigori Wars for the month of October. So she was a very abrupt make. I think I started it like 6 days before the whole thing ended for the month. So she was actually finished up in the car on the way to our couple of day overnight stay at Great Wolf Lodge. And she's made out of scraps, except for like this, her body and her little boo dress is some chenille. And this was actually some yarn that I got at Big Lots like years and years ago. The first year I started knitting, so then 2014, I think is when I bought this yarn. And it was like one of those little 50-gram balls, and I think I paid $1 for it. But that's what she is made out of. And then the rest of her is all scraps. So this purple is actually yarn left over from a pair of fingerless knits that I made my grandmother before she really got far into her dementia. Her hands were always cold. The orange and the gray are scraps from a cowl that I'm actually wearing in week 3's Think Ember series. And I will link that here so you can check that out, because I talk about this. It's one of my favorite cowls. It's actually supposed to be a shawl that I morphed into a cowl, and I wear that thing a lot. It's very snuggalicious. But yeah, I love her. I hate her mouth though. Her mouth is things of terrors. I tried to make her mouth in the car. It was not pretty. I really need to redo it, but honestly, she's done, so why? What's the point? Her hat is some leftover red heart, as well as her boots in a brown colorway. And I added a little picot, or maybe the pattern had that. I think the pattern actually had that. And as always with all my videos, all the projects I talk about are going to be linked down in the description below. Typically I link my actual project page, and that is just because my project page is going to have all the information that you're going to need if you're wanting to make one like mine. It's going to have the yarns I use, the colorways I use. Every project, I even put exact yardage that I use of each yarn, except for her, because I haven't figured it out yet. And unless I just keep forgetting. It also is going to have a link to the pattern on the top, and it's going to have photos, and any kind of notes or modifications are going to be in the notes on that Ravelry page. It's just something I like to do, to leave for the person coming behind me that wants to use some of the things that I did to make my stuff. The next thing I finished is my baby Vertebrae sweater. Finally. So this thing I think I cast on in February. I actually cast on 2. I cast on this one, which is in Pashmina, from Malintosh, which is a sport, I think. Is it a sport? Maybe. I may have to correct myself here. I also cast one on in DK and Miss Babs Yowza in the color Coffee Break, which I already gifted back in March, so I'll insert some photos here. But both of them turned out super cute, and it's a really easy and fun pattern to knit. It's just this one got put on the back burner, and I've just been trying to get my needles and crochet hooks cleaned off before the new year. But this is just a simple knit baby cardie, and the way it's made is you start on by doing this little ribbing apart the back, and then you knit and put your sleeve stitches on waste yarn, and then you finish the body. You do the ribbing on the bottom, and then you pick up all the stitches on the side and around the top, and you do that ribbon. Then you go back and get your sleeves that were on waste yarn, pick them up, knit them, and do the ribbing on them. So when I did mine, I just picked them up together and knit them at one time and did some decreases. I have a little crazy looking place there because when I had made it and I had it hanging to dry, the little way I had it hung made little where it kind of dry like that, but I can wet block that and that'll come right out. But I really love how it turned out. The colorway is absolutely gorgeous. So this was from Kelly Van Nurk. I used Pashmina Dubrick, I think is the colorway name. 252 yards and 84 grams. And I knit it on a 3.25 needle. Finish a hat that I cannot show you, but I'm going to insert some photos here as I talk about it. And it was called the 1.5 Hour Beanie. I used 130 yards and 170 grams. The yarn I used was Butter Cream Luxe in the colorway Sage. And I kind of talk about this as I'm starting it back in the October crafting video. I'll put that here in case you have not seen that, because I show the yarn and I show where I used the yarn originally in my big old 2-foot tall baby go groove. I also finished a wreath, and there's a whole video about this wreath that I will link right here. But I'm going to insert the photos as I talk here. And the wreath is called the Chunky Wreath by Rebecca Langford. I use loops and threads Royal Velvet, and I only used 38.4 yards and 170 grams in the colorway Mallard. This was a very fun crocheted project that literally I did in about an hour. And I love the results. I go into detail in the video about the differences I did versus the pattern writer. She has her own YouTube channel about it, so I link it in that video, and I just talk about the different things that I did personally. So if you want to see that, make sure you check out the link that I posted above there a few seconds ago. All these links though, if you just click one of them, they'll pull down and you can select which video you want to watch. Let's talk about my ornament knit along real fast / crochet along. The community post up about a knitting and crocheting ornament knit crochet along cal with a K-C-A-L, and there will be a video made sometime next week when I start decorating with more details on that, because I'm going to show and talk about all kind of knit and crochet ornaments with you guys. If you want to join that and you want to make sure you catch that video, make sure you're subscribed and then hit that little bell notification so you'll get that notification when I put that up. There will also be a video that I'll be recording talking about some of the advents that I'm personally going to use this year, just because advents are fun. And if you saw the other advent video I tried to make, it was a complete failure. So I feel like I need to regain myself on that one. Now let's look at some stash enhancements. So I showed this the other day in my live, but in case you missed that, and that is okay. I know a lot of people do not like to watch lives. For one thing, they can be quite long. I think this one wound up being almost an hour, possibly 2 hours, and I never intended it to be that way. And I know there are people who love lives, and I am not the best person at doing them because I get so awkward feeling. I move my hands a lot, I'm always swaying, and I can feel myself doing this right now as I'm looking at the camera. So I guess really it's no different than what I already do. But lives to me are just, I don't know. I feel very awkward doing them. I need to get better, because I know it's a great way to chat with you guys, and I need to get to a point where I can actually schedule them so more of you can join me. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure you let me know down below. But this is a yarn kit from Wonderland Yarns, and they are out of Vermont. And this is the Mad Hatter base, which is a sport weight yarn, 344 yards, 4 ounces of 100% super merino. So this little kit is part of a series where you get the yarn, pattern, and a pin. But this colorway was her Halloween color, and it's called Pennsylvania. I'm going to show you how pretty this yarn is first. It's got so much color depth. It's just gorgeous. The pin that came with it is this cute little pin, and the moon actually glows in the dark. And this yarn actually has a quote on it from Lewis Carroll, who is one of my favorite authors, and it said, "If I had a world of my own, everything would be nonsense." I'm pretty sure that is from Alice in Wonderland, actually. The patterns it comes with is a crochet pattern and a knitting pattern. So the crochet pattern is a pair of fingerless mitts as well as a headband. And I will link these, of course, in the description below. But this is called the Harpier Mitts and Earwarmer Set by Grace Stampler. And then the knit pattern it comes with is a shawl. And it's probably going to be the one I'm going to use. And this is called Wicked Practical Shawl by Stephanie Schumann. Although this shawl looks very much kind of similar to a Hohe Locatelli, which I also own, so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. This yarn purchase and the one I'm about to show you all came from a kind of, sort of to me, yarn store local that is called Taming of the U. They're in Gadsden, but they're about 35 minutes, 40 minutes away, so I don't know how local you'll call that. It's semi-local. But when I was there, Miss Pat, who owns the yarn store, had on this brioche vest. And I kept wanting to call this thing the Batwing, but it's not called the Batwing. What is this thing called? I'll have to put it here because I can't remember. But it uses a total of 4 skeins of fingering weight yarn, 2 of a solid and 2 of your other color for your brioche, because it's a 2-color brioche, almost the entire thing is. And it's going to be brioche-tastic to make. It's going to be so squishy and lovey, and I'm just like stoked to make it. And this is what I'm making it out of. So this is Core by Gusto Wool. It is a fingering weight yarn that is an 80/20 base, and both of these have the same color code on them, 1207, which obviously they're not the same color, so I don't understand that. This would be my first time using this Core yarn. I mean, it's not the softest yarn in the world, but with brioche it's so squishy anyways, it's not gonna matter. But I think they are absolutely perfect and perfect together. This is so much fun. And then I do love me a good orange. There. she had actually just got in a bunch of Knitted Wit. And Knitted Wit is a dyer out of Georgia, which is the next state over because I'm in Alabama. And the Knitted Wit has this whole series of yarns that she dyes inspired by national parks and preserves. And Miss Pat actually got her to dye up a skein of yarn for one of the Alabama national preserves, which is called Little River Canyon. And this is what she came up with. So this is Knitted Wit. And this is a fingering weight yarn. It is an 80-20. Again, one of my favorite bases, and it's just this gorgeous, gorgeous colorway with blues and oranges. Do you see there's always a pattern to my yarn when I buy yarn. All of them have these blues in it and these oranges and some greens. Even this has a little bit of the same darker color tones. Like, I just can't get past that. But I love the greens and the orange. Look at that. Oh, so pretty, so pretty. So I'm excited about all those. Now, before we go any further, we're going to take the time to slow down and do a secret giveaway. I've kind of talked about this in other videos lately, but I picked up a skein or cake of Hobie in the Universe Christmas to give away to you guys. And this is color number 22. And it does have a sparkle, but you cannot feel that sparkle. Like, their sparkle is an amazing grade quality of sparkle. And look at the cute little label. I mean, gotta love the Hobie. A fingering weight yarn. It's 98% acrylic, 2% polyester. And it's a total of 505 yards of that shininess. So, to be eligible to win this little cake of Hobie, you need to be a U.S. resident. Unfortunately, right now, with the cost of shipping, I just cannot send out of the state. Not until this channel gets monetized so that it can actually kind of support the shipping. You also need to be a subscriber of my channel. So if you haven't done that already, it's over here. I don't always point over there. Click down here and hit that subscribe button. I would love it if you leave a thumbs up in this video. That would be superb. Thumbs up matter, and they really help content creators get their channels out to other viewers. I'm not gonna put on this anywhere that there's a giveaway, because I want it to be like something for the people who actually watch my videos and who are subscribers. So you also need to enter a keyword. Now, we're just going to talk about the word elf. And I'm going to put that word right here, elf. So make sure you leave a sentence or a comment with the keyword elf. And what I'm going to do is use Random Comment Picker. Type in that keyword, filter out the comments that have that word, and let it randomly pull a winner. Randomly? I don't even know if that's a word. Let it randomly pull a winner from those comments, and I will mail this out to you. But again, must be in the US. All the other normal legal mumbo jumbo apply here, which is the lines of you need to be 18 years or older. You do not have to pay to enter to win. This is only supplied by me. Just little old me and my money to buy and to send this. I never will not tell you if I am showing or giving away something that was given to me to give away, as in sponsored. I will always let you know. And if I don't say anything, it means I was actually the one who bought it and is paying for it all. So, I know it sounds crazy to have to verify that, but people have been getting with crazy copyright hits because of stuff that is not being told, which should have just been like acknowledged, I guess. So this is me acknowledging that unless I clarify that it was given to me, there's no kind of sponsorship. It's just me buying a product and giving it away. There you go. And that's what happens here. I did get a couple other little things, but I got them from D-Stashes. And I love to shop the D-Stashes on Ravelry, eBay, Mercari, Facebook Marketplace. And typically, if I have some extra cash, I will actually hunt down a favorite indie dyer. I typically go for ones that I can't really find locally or in the US, because it allows me to save on shipping if the person that I'm buying from bought it from them and lives in the US. And that's what happened here. This is actually one of my favorite dyers, a Homespun House, and she, who is Molly, is from Berlin, Germany. And I did a couple of Molly's yarn clubs when she was in Germany, and I love them to no end. But unfortunately, the shipping and cost of that got ridiculous, and so I had to quit. She did move back to the US for a couple of years to her home state of Wisconsin, and I did buy some things when she was there from her. But now she's moved back to Berlin because they have 2 little girls, and her husband is from Germany, and they wanted to raise their kids in Germany, which I can't blame them. It's a gorgeous country. As you know, my mother-in-law is actually from Austria, and I would do anything to be able to go and visit that country and take our boys so they can see where, you know, she grew up. But this is a Homespun House. This is her plump merino base, which is a fingering weight yarn. It's an 80-20, and there's 390 meters, 407 yards, and 100 ounces, 100 grams, 4 ounces. My bad. But look how pretty that is. This is also one of her Christmas colorways called Jingleberry. So I was extremely happy to pick that up because this is a colorway that I had been wanting for a couple of years. And they tend to sell out really fast when she puts them on her website, which is a homespunhouse.com. Stash item I got was just some fingering weight yarn. And I think this is actually a sport weight. And I can't remember, this was like in one of the D-Stash groups on Facebook. A lady had posted that she had some fingering weight yarn she just wanted to get rid of for $5 shipping. So I'm like, that's me, I'm your gal. And so I bought it and she sold it to me. And I love this color. This is probably close to 100 grams, I'm thinking. I don't know the dyer, I don't know the colorway, because this is all that she sent me. There is no labels whatsoever. And then she sent me this, which I really love this too. And I'm going to try to figure out the dyer. I haven't got around to it. It's got blues and oranges and greens. Again, can you sense a theme with me? It just kind of happens. But this is definitely 100 grams. And it's got to be a sport. It could actually be a really light DK. It's a sport or DK. And it's definitely 100 grams. But for $5, I'm not saying no, but both of these D-Stashes have gone through my freezer. Both of these D-Stashes have gone through my freezer process. So if you don't know what that is, let me tell you, because it can save you some heartache. Anytime I purchase a yarn that is 100% or any kind of natural fiber, it goes through my freezer process. And what that is let me tell you what that process entails. Before it ever comes in my house, I open it up. If it's a hank, if it's not a hank, I will actually like kind of pull around in the fibers and check, and I look for bugs. If there's no bugs seen and it's a natural fiber, then I go get a Ziploc baggie and I put it in the baggie before it even makes it through the doorway. I don't take any D-Stash yarn in my house until it goes through this process. It then goes in the freezer for a whole week. It just stays there in the freezer and gets all kind of frostiness to kill anything that's on there. Then I take it out, go outside, I open up the hank if it's a hank, and I shake it. And let me just say, it is okay to do this. You can take your hank, you can shake this, and if it's properly tied, it's not gonna matter. So you can shake it around, you can ball it up, And if it's properly tied, you're going to be able to hold it up and easily put it on a Swift without any issues or tangling when you start winding it. But I do that. I take it and I shake it and I check for bugs. Then I re-tank it, put the ball band back on it, and put it back in the freezer for a whole nother week. Repeat the process. Take the whole baggie outside, open it up, shake it up, and really check it for anything. And it's not to be rude. It's because any kind of natural fiber, if someone doesn't keep their yarns rotated a lot and touches them a lot, then yes, there very well can be a wool-eating bug in them. And it only takes one to get in with all your other yarns to create an infestation. They will eat your yarn. Even acrylic yarn is acceptable to bugs, especially silverfish and carpet beetles. Wool moths, though, are what come after our hand dyes and our other wool-based yarns. But as you can see, this yarn has at least 2 ties. If it doesn't have at least 2 ties on there, get you some ties and go ahead and put them on there before you do the shaking process. But this is what you're supposed to do before you even put yarn on your yarn winder. And the reason you do this is because these yarns are going to sit in that hank, and it's wool. It has a natural tendency to grab on to the other strands. That's why you're able to felt yarn that is wool. So doing this allows those to open up and unhinge from each other. So when you go to start winding it in cake form, it will produce an evenly wound cake that is not super tight. But you don't want that, because that actually can put too much pull on your yarn and it can damage your yarn, especially if you leave it in cake form for a while. So just to clear up any, and all I mostly use is indie dye yarn. It's been that way for about 8 years. I don't think I'm a professional, but I am so much of a person who deals with these, never had a single issue. But yeah, all these yarns went through that process. Now when you rehank yarn, what I like to do is give it a good pull. Like this one right here, it's going the wrong way. That's how you can tell. So I give it a good pull. I hold one arm straight and I twist. It's almost like you're doing like some kind of cool dance move, but it's not a cool dance move. And when it starts getting really tight, grab it with your chin, put your fingers through the 2 holes, and then just twist. It's going to naturally twist on itself. Then you can take one of those and pull it through the other one, and it's rehanked. Not a problem. Slide your ball band back on there and call it a day. So after it goes through that process a couple times, then I'm able to take it out and it can join the other yarns in the bookcase, because I know that it's not going to be infested with bugs. As far as whips, the only thing I'm still working on actively is my Stephen West knit along twists and turns. If you watch week 3 video from the Fake Ember series, I kind of do some little excerpts where I talk about it and how I'm bringing in a backup dancer. And a backup dancer is what Stephen West calls an alternate color that the pattern doesn't call for, but one that you may want to pull in and add, just to add some more interesting details. And I am doing just that. I am bringing in a backup dancer. So I finished clue 1, and then I started clue 2, and I will be doing the other side. I mean, I'm almost done with this last little wedge. But I brought in this dark gray, and I think it's gonna do wonderful with my shawl. So this dark gray, this is the reddish color rush I'm using. It's a Malintosh yarn, and it's in Nectar, Tosh Sock. This blue is Tosh Soft in Celadon, and the yellow, which is my actual accent color, it's here in my bags by Bridget, is some Cameo yarns, Asleep Under the Mountains of Gold. And this gray that I'm pulling in, if you haven't seen this yet, so I'm going to take this out. It's a gorgeous gray black. And this is the Fred sock base called Falklands, Falklands. And this is from Rain's Obsessive Stitchery. I did not say a bad word. Let's see if this goes better. There we go. And it's a little bit thinner. You can kind of see it. I mean, obviously, because it's a little bit thinner yarn. It's still a fingering weight yarn. It's just more of a light fingering. It does, because it's a lot thinner yarn, kind of pull on this edge. But when I go to pick up these stitches to work the rest of this, I don't think it's even going to be noticeable at all, especially once I block. And I'm not going to aggressively block this section. I do want to kind of block this section more, so it definitely opens up. I haven't blocked it at all. I've just kind of carried on, but I am loving how it's working out. I typically am not a muted color person, but I'm kind of enjoying the muted colorness of this. I really hope that you've enjoyed this video. I hope that you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving if I did not see you or speak to you before then. I know my Canadian friends have already had their Thanksgiving, and I just hope you take time to really sit down and have some crafting time this week and time with your family, and be thankful for all the things that we have, all of our blessings in everyday life. For those of you who have snow, I am extremely jealous, so know that. And I love you all. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you all in the YouTube streets. Bye.